Hello everyone, I'm Chase, a Rocky Mountain ATV-MC, and today we're taking the Instinct from Fox Racing and the Tech 10 from Alpinestars, and we're putting these head to head. All right, everyone, thanks for checking in with us today. As you can see, we have the Fox Instinct and the Tech 10 from Alpinestars up here on the table. These are both premium boots from both these companies. With the Instinct, you've got riders like Ken Roczen, Adam Cianciarulo, Ricky Carmichael, who helped design the boot when it first came to market. The Tech 10, you've got Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, Marvin Musquin, Jason Anderson. So a lot of the best riders in the world are wearing these two boots. And if you're shopping for a premium option, chances are these are on your radar. So today what I want to do is just help you make that decision a little bit easier, because I've ridden in both of these boots. I spent a lot of time in them. I love both of them, but there are some things that I think each boot does a little bit better than the other. So we're just going to go through. I'm going to give you my own personal feedback. If you want to learn all the ins and outs and learn all the technical info, watch the product spotlights. But today it's all about just my opinion on how these perform in different categories, just to help give you a good idea of which one you feel might be best. So let's kick it off and talk about fit. So when we talk about fit with these two, both are going to fit true to size, but there are some differences between the two worth pointing out. So we'll start with the Instinct. So with the Instinct, this boot does have a reputation for having a little bit more of a narrow toe box. Me, I don't have a super wide foot. I don't have a skinny foot by any means. I've never really had any issues as far as the width goes on these, but they are a little bit narrow. Just keep that in mind. Now, the length of these, now, for a little while, Fox, they did run a little bit small, but a few years back, Fox updated their sizing. So for me, I think the length of the Instinct is spot on. Now, something I have noticed, because I've actually had several pairs of the Instincts, and again, this is just from my experience. I've had a few times where when I put on an Instinct, for whatever reason, I have a little pinch point here on the outside. Some of the pairs that I've gotten, I haven't had that. Some that I do. And again, that's just what I've experienced. But overall, the fit of these is really good. And what I like so much about the fit of this is when you put these on, your ankle and everything feels very secure, like it's not going anywhere. So it holds everything securely in place really well, and you have little to zero heel float. What I mean by heel float is just when you're riding, you don't feel like there's any slop with your heel or your ankle area. Everything's nice and snug. Or even when you're just off the bike walking, your heel stays planted. It doesn't lift up off the sole of the boot. So that's how the Instinct fits. Now, when we get to the Tech 10, big difference here. The Tech 10 has an inner booty, and these two have to go together. You're not gonna be able to ride in this boot without having the inner booty inside. As far as the fitment goes, the width of the toe box is gonna be a little bit wider than with the Instinct. So if you do have really wide feet, I might steer you more towards the Tech 10 in that aspect. As far as the overall length goes, that's going to be true to size. Now here's something that you're going to notice. Because you have the inner booty, obviously they have to make the shell of the boot a little bit bigger to accommodate that. So when I first put on a Tech 10, something that I noticed, or just really just perceptions, it felt like my boot was too big. It felt like I was wearing a size 10. But once you start to ride in these, you realize that's not going to be an issue. So the fit on these is actually very comfortable. Both these boots I can wear all day long. I have no issue there. The Tech 10, just like the Instinct, has little to zero heel float. Both hold the ankle in place really well. But as far as fit goes, I would just say the Tech 10, a little bit wider of a toe box. So when we talk about break-in time support, this is a big deciding factor when you're choosing between these two boots. With the Instinct, and this is something that Fox really prides themselves on, and I will give them credit for this because I think it's the best in this category, little to no break-in time. I can take a brand new pair of Instincts, I can go jump on my bike and ride in them, and I feel like I've already got hours inside these. So they have good flexibility to ride out of the box. They're just not gonna take time to break in, and that's what I like about them. And then you get to the Tech 10, excuse me. Complete opposite side of the spectrum. The Tech 10s, of all the premium boots that we sell, and if you watch our premium boot buyer's guide, I've ridden in every single boot on the table. These are by far the stiffest, and these will take the most time to break in. So you gotta be patient when it comes to the Tech 10. In fact, when you put these on for the first time and you bend at your knees and you get that flexion, you're gonna feel your heel lifting up off the ground because they are so stiff. So you just gotta be patient. But here's what I like about the stiffness of the Tech 10. Even though it takes longer to break in, you notice that between the two bottom buckles here, they have this little insert. They call it their flexion control insert. And what this does, it just helps absorb impact. So maybe you over jump something, you come up short and you're gonna case. This insert is helping to absorb some of that impact. And that's also what is making this boot so stiff right out of the box as well. But here's what I like over time. Let's say you have both these boots. You've got 40 hours on each one of them. They're both plenty broken in. At that point, I feel like the Tech 10 still offers more support once they're really broken in than the Instinct does. So it's kind of a trade-off. You get really good flexibility right out of the box, 0 to little braking time. But with the Tech 10, you're gonna take a lot more braking time, but in my opinion, a little bit more support once these boots are both broken in. Now, if we talk about ankle protection as well, this is worth pointing out. So with the Instinct, they use what they call their dynamic core stabilizer. So you've got a hinge on each side. You'll notice here in the back though that they have this little ridge. So that's gonna help with that hyperextension. So as the boot flexes, it's gonna eventually contact each other here, and that's gonna be a good support and good protection when it comes to hyperextension. With the Tech 10, they do a little bit differently. They have what they call their flex blade system. So it's kind of like a tongue and groove. You got it here in the front, and then you've also got it here in the back as well. This is just gonna help with the overall flex of the boot, but also that's gonna help with hyperextension as well. So that's kind of how they combat that hyperextension. The Tech 10 also does have a pivot system on the medial and lateral side, but as far as braking period goes, remember with the Instinct, little to no braking. Tech 10, definitely gonna take a little bit longer, but as far as overall support in the long run, I'd give the nod to the Tech 10. So next category, let's talk about buckles. So we'll start out with the Tech 10 this time. So the Tech 10, you notice, just has 3 buckles on it. With the Instinct, you're gonna have 4 buckles. Buckles on both boots are gonna be replaceable, but here's kind of a big difference. With the Tech 10, the way this works is you're just gonna take your strap, slide it right through. They're self-aligning, so as soon as you get that strap through there, all you're gonna do is just snap it down. Now, brand new, when these boots are coming out of the box, the buckles work really well. It's a great buckle design. But what I have noticed is that after I ride in these, when the buckles do start to get dirty, get some gunk built up in there, I've had a couple times where I literally almost feel like I'm gonna break the buckle trying to snap it down. In that case, I'll actually go through and I'll take some sort of maybe water or a lubricant. I'll spray a little bit inside the buckle right here at the base just to help me to get those snap over. So I like the design, but that has happened from time to time as far as those getting stuck up. Now, as far as the Instinct goes, a little bit different design, but still great the way it works. You just have a kind of a ball and socket. You take your strap, slide it right in there, and those are gonna snap down. And now the Instinct buckle, like the Tech 10, I have had times where if that gets dirty, it can be a little bit hard to snap that down. You're also gonna notice with the Fox buckles, they are a little bit shorter. In my opinion, if I think they could make these, or one way they can make these a little bit better, add a little bit of length to the buckle, and also just make it not so sharp here. So when these do get stuck and you're really pressing hard on those or pulling up, it's not gonna hurt your fingers as much. But overall, I've never broken any of the buckles on the Instinct or the Tech 10. They always work. Just like I said, some of them sometimes might get a little bit stuck. The straps have plenty of length, but again, that's the buckle design for the Tech 10 and the Instinct. So when we talk about bike feel, both squeezing the bike and on the foot pegs, this is very important. For me personally, this is one of the biggest deciding factors when I choose a boot, is I like to really feel like I have a good contact, because we all know when you're squeezing the bike from your ankles all the way up to your knees, you wanna have that boot squeezing, gripping the bike, and foot peg feel for me is really important. I like to really know where my feet are at on the pegs, and I like to make braking and shifting as easy as possible. So with these two, here's a couple differences. You notice on the Tech 10, that on the medial side here, you've got 2 rubber inserts. You've got one on the lower, one on the upper, and then you have this suede material surrounding the outside of that medial insert. So what I like about the Tech 10 is you do have a nice flat interface, so it makes contacting the bike easy. But when you look at the Instinct, here's a feature that I really do enjoy about these. They use what they call their Duratac material. So Duratac is proprietary to Fox, and just feeling this over the rubber that you have on the Tech 10, the Duratac definitely feels like it has a little bit more grip, a little bit more sticky feel to it. So I like how much grip you get on the Instinct when you're squeezing the bike. And then if we go down and we look at the soles here, when it comes to foot peg feel, in that category alone, no boot, in my opinion, rivals the Instinct. I think that's one thing that Fox did better than any other company. They have what they call their low ride chassis, so when you put your foot inside here, your foot sits nice and low, it's nice and close to the foot peg, and that gives really good feel. So when it comes to feeling my brake pedal, I think the Instinct does that incredible. And then also, when I'm standing on the bike trying to get that shift up, I feel like I can do that the best when I'm wearing a Fox Instinct, because one, you're getting really good flexibility like we already talked about, but just because of that feel, low profile toe box, it just makes shifting really easy. That's one aspect about the Instinct I really like. You notice with the material, it's the same Duratac material that they have on the inside. So as far as grip goes, these are gonna do really well on the foot pegs. Now when you get to the Tech 10, some differences here. So the Tech 10s have good grip. As good as the Instinct, I think it's really close. It's honestly hard to tell between these two. Now, the Tech 10's not gonna have as much foot peg feel as the Instinct. But here's what I like that Alpinestars did with these, because when I first put these on, I was a little bit worried because you have that booty on the inside that you weren't gonna have as much foot peg feel. But Alpinestars was smart, and what they actually do, you're not gonna be able to see it, but in the shell or the footbed, they actually have a relief cut. And that relief cut is to give a little bit of give or a little bit of flex to the sole, just to allow you to have a little bit more foot peg feel. So much to my surprise, when I ride in these, they're not far behind the Instinct as far as feeling the foot peg. So they did a good job there. Also, a couple other things worth mentioning the difference in. You'll notice too, on the Tech 10 with their sole, you can see you've got these little grooves here right where the arch of the foot will be. These are actually to help give better grip when you're cornering, because when you're cornering, your foot's gonna be in a little bit different position. You're really weighting that outside foot peg. So they added some grip there. And also, here's a safety feature that I think is pretty cool that the Instinct doesn't have. It's called their DHCP, and what that stands for is Dynamic Heel Compression Protection. So in the heel area, they actually have a little insert, and it's made of an impact foam, almost like EPS that you have in a helmet, and it's a crush zone. So in the event that, we talked about earlier, if you over jump something, if you're coming up short, you're gonna case, it just offers a little bit of support or impact absorption for the rider's heel. And again, you're not gonna feel that when you're riding, because I can't feel it, but it's there in the event that you do need it. So that's what you're getting in the heel of the Tech 10. All right, so the last category that we're gonna cover is durability. You know, obviously you're making a big investment here. These are both premium boots. You want these to last as long as possible. But I think before I do talk about that, one thing worth mentioning is price point. Because with the Tech 10, you're around $600. For an Instinct, you're around $460. So there's about a $140 difference between these two boots. Now, as far as the long-term durability goes, I've had my Tech 10s for a year. I've put a lot of hours in my Tech 10s, enough to know if they're gonna hold up or not. Same goes for the Instinct. I have a pair of Instincts that I got around the same time as a Tech 10, and they both hold up well. I haven't had any buckles, any hard parts break. As far as the sole durability goes, like I said earlier, both of these are gonna be replaceable. And with soles, it's kind of subjective to the rider. I've seen some riders that are really hard on soles that go through them pretty quickly. Me, I could probably have the same pair of boots for a year and a half and not have to replace the sole. So that's really gonna be subjective to the rider, but you just gotta remember that both are going to be replaceable, so not something that would be too stressed about as far as which one you would choose between the two. But here's what I do wanna point out, and I've already talked about this. As far as the long-term support, which is important, I think that the Tech 10, like I mentioned, if you were to take both these boots, put the same amount of hours in them, you're gonna feel like the Tech 10 still offers a little bit more support than with the Instinct. Other than that, durability on both of these, I think it's really good. And that concludes it. That is my versus of the Instinct versus the Tech 10. So take this information, what I've talked about today, digest that. Hopefully that's gonna help you make a decision. Remember, watch the product spotlights, read rider reviews. Also, if you do have questions that you want to get from other riders who are using these, you can ask those questions on the product page and they will give you answers for those. So it's a great way to get good information on these. To pick up your next set of boots, you can just click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. Remember, all orders over $75 ship free. If you guys like this versus, we have others just like it where we compare other premium boots. We also do have our buyer's guide where we take the best of the best, put them on the table, and run through all the features that make them so unique. I'm Chase here at Rocky Mountain, and we'll see you on the trails.